Is Widowmaker viable? As you guys know, I've conducted an experiment regarding Widowmaker. What I did was I bought an account and I named it Log. It was just a random name I thought was quite amusing. I played Widowmaker only on this account until level 25, and then I played Widowmaker only in competitive mode. I recorded the results, I recorded my teammates' reactions, I recorded the enemy team's reactions, I recorded every little bit I played of competitive mode on this account, and I'm currently making a really awesome looking video with Widowmaker people complaining about, me playing Widowmaker and then having some cool shots and stuff. That's a montage ton of videos, it's going to be completely separate, but today I'm going to be discussing Widowmaker's viability, because I did, mentally record down the results of, hey, is she good, and, is she viable? I played her for 25 hours in competitive mode, and I've encountered all sorts of enemy teams that would react to me playing Widowmaker. One common thing that I think players don't do against a Widowmaker, just to start this off, is that the environment around you is the best thing to protect yourself from a Widowmaker. People always try and peek, shit, I'm going to peek out and try and get this Widowmaker. No, she can kill you instantly if you have 250 health or less. So you're kind of in a position where you have to kind of either give her space or catch her by surprise, otherwise she's going to kill you. And I wasn't an amazing aimer, at least I didn't think I was, but my stats say that I was, so I don't know. But I don't think I aimed that well. I aimed okay, I don't think I aimed badly, but I aimed okay. And what I noticed was that you kind of have to give Widowmaker her space or use your environment to protect yourself, while at the same time not sacrificing your ability to kill your enemy team. So, and a really good example of this is King's Row. King's Row is the best map for Widowmaker, 100%. On attack, she can be an absolute goddess. I was going to say god, but goddess. Point A especially, on that little perch up there. No matter how many times that players knew I was up there, they would always get caught off. The easiest way you can avoid Widowmaker up there is by simply hugging the wall next to the choke. You just hug the wall. Wait for the enemy team to come through the choke, and you can kill them without the Widowmaker killing you. Of course, you might have to move a little bit, in which case you're vulnerable, but, that's a good way of not getting picked off straight away. So, but I never saw a team do it once. I was playing in low gold to plat. I actually climbed to plat playing Widowmaker only, and I didn't notice any team doing this ever. They just hug the fucking wall. But no, regardless, what I noticed about her viability was that it was really map dependent. There are certain maps that, so you can't not play Widow. I would say if you're good at Widow, then you can definitely play her in any situation. But there are certain maps that make it a bit easier. King's Row is a prime example of this. King's Row is really easy to make Widowmaker work, whereas on a map like Numbani, especially where teams typically hold, it's really, really hard to make it work out well, unless you can get into a position where the enemy team doesn't notice you or somehow do like a really big flank or something like that. I don't know, but it's really hard to make her work on Numbani, but it's really easy to make her work on point A attack for King's Row. Now, in terms of her counters, this is a bit more interesting, because it's like, she gets countered a lot. There's a lot of heroes who counter her. Hanzo being one that does counter her. Ana kind of counters her in a way. Those are just ones that you might not have known, but they're in there, of course, the normal counters. So there's D.Va, there's Reinhardt, there's Winston, of course. So those counters, when there's one of those on the enemy team, you're going to really start to struggle. Reinhardt, surprisingly, is a really big counter to Widowmaker. You never hear in the conversation against the Widowmaker, shit, we need a Reinhardt. Usually it's probably because you already do have a Reinhardt, but Widowmaker can work around the Reinhardt shield, but it does make it a hell of a lot harder. But no, Winston, never ever play Widowmaker into Winston. Unless that Winston has no idea that you're there, or you can catch him by surprise, or really, really think about your positioning and stuff, you're going to really struggle to play against a Winston using Widowmaker. Same with D.Va. D.Va is not so much a problem, because there is a cool little thing you can do. Unless she defense metrics the whole way to traveling towards you, which she usually does, what you can do is you headshot her as she's traveling towards you, and if she keeps going, then headshot her again, and she's pretty much out of mech, and then once she's out of mech and she's on you, then you can kill her. But no, that doesn't really happen, because they always kind of defense metrics towards you. And as you know, D.Va's pretty common. D.Va's pretty good right now. She's used a lot, and so, it's really not easy to play Widowmaker in this current meta, especially with the tanks. However, landing double headshot on something like Roadhog is actually surprisingly easy, and headshotting a Reinhardt usually makes him panic, and that's, you're kind of putting in a good amount of effort there. And picking off healers and stuff, it's usually pretty easy, and people like Genji and Tracer, if you can land shots on those, then you're in the green. There are a lot of times where you just need to think to yourself, if you can't get up into a place and make a kill over and over again, then you probably should switch. It doesn't have to be the same place, just if you can make picks continuously at a regular rate, then you do not need to switch. But if you can't make picks at a regular rate, if you can't do last hits are important because you're finishing off someone else's damage, or you're doing a headshot or whatever. If you can't do that, then Widowmaker is not the right pick. She is really, she struggles, okay? She struggles. In terms of, when do I think to myself that this person should probably switch? I always am hesitant to see a Sombra and a Widowmaker. Those two heroes in particular. Even like Torbjorn and Symmetra, the heroes, people usually think those two are pretty bad, or Bastion or Hanzo or whatever. I don't care about those heroes, play Symmetra, Torbjorn, Bastion, Hanzo as much as you want, but Sombra and Widowmaker have a flaw. Sombra is kind of in a rough spot because Blizzard's still trying to buff her and make her good. She doesn't really do enough damage, and she can't really pull off her hacks very well a lot of the time, and it takes a lot of skill to be able to do that, so she's got a high skill ceiling. And same with Widowmaker, they actually have the same problem. They both have very high skill floors rather. What a skill floor is the required skill to get value, and so Sombra and Widowmaker both have a really high skill floor, which means that you have to be pretty good at her to get actual value. And sometimes you can have someone else on your team that picks up the slack, and so you don't have to work in as that hard. But it generally, I'd probably say, just off the top of my head, I'd probably say about 60 to 70% of the time I probably shouldn't have been playing Widowmaker. Widowmaker was probably not the best idea for me, for a player to be playing rather. For me personally, Widowmaker is my best DPS hero now. From playing her so much, she's my best DPS hero. I don't ever play DPS personally, and so picking up Widowmaker meant that I had a DPS that I could play now. And so honestly, I dabble in Soldier and McCree and stuff from time to time, but Widowmaker is my best DPS hero. And so for me personally, as a pick, if I'm in the DPS role and I've locked that DPS role in, then my best option is to play Widowmaker, hands down. No matter what the situation is, if I'm playing Widowmaker, then I'm doing the best possible DPS job I personally can. And so when you encounter people who say, Widowmaker play Soldier, I would literally do worse if I were to play Soldier than I would be doing on Widowmaker. That's the level I got to. I'm not saying I'm good at Widowmaker, I'm saying I'm bad at Soldier, bad at everything else. Widowmaker is what I'm good at. And so that comes back to the whole thing, the whole philosophy that let your teammates play what they're good at and you'll win the game. If your teammates are all playing their best hero, then chances are your enemy team is going to have to either do the same or play just incredibly well to beat you, because you're going to be an unstoppable machine that they can't fucking beat unless your team is full of people who can't play any hero well. But regardless, overall result, I'd say it's not an easy question to answer. Is Widowmaker viable? Because a lot of the time she is. But if you're not good at her and you can't make the picks, then don't play her. She does have a very high skill floor. And honestly, me personally, even though she's my best DPS hero, I probably shouldn't play her. I'm a tank support person. I play both those roles quite frequently, and so it's best for me to be on those roles rather than me being on Widowmaker, hands down. So take with that what you will. I do have a video upcoming later in the week. I'm working really hard on it. I've put heaps and heaps of hours into it. It's looking so good. I'm so hyped with it. It's another video in this series. I'm sorry, that's my phone. And it's looking so good. I'm putting together fucking phone. I'm putting together a montage of Widowmaker kills and people being pricks and stuff like that. It's looking really good, and so I'm really excited to get that released to you guys. I have uploaded a teaser on Twitter, and I might upload more, so follow me on Twitter to stay up to date with all that. But because I'm working so hard on that, and school starts very soon for me, I will be perhaps missing a couple of uploads here and there, as I already have, so my apologies for that. Regardless, so I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.